Hi everybody, it's Katie. We want our two girls to go to college. We want to try to help them with that as best we can, which might not be a ton, but we want to help them. And you can do it too. And I wanted to share with you today what we're doing for them for college savings. My parents started saving pretty early on for my brothers and my college education. We were actually babies when they started saving, and it was almost actually enough to cover, well, I was on the 5-year plan, so if I had been on the 4-year plan, it would have been enough. But they actually saved enough for us to go to school, and it was so helpful. I didn't have to work. I had to learn about a budget because I was given a certain amount a month, and I had to figure out how to work with that, and it worked out great, actually. So like I said, if I had been on the 4-year plan, it would have been enough. But since I had that extra year, I did have a small student loan to pay off, which they actually ended up helping with a little bit on that as well. But I was actually fortunately able to pay it off really quickly versus going into my, life as an adult with this just crushing debt. What kind of start is it if you've got thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of debt and you don't know what you're going to do with it? Because I didn't really start to feel like an actual adult until probably my mid to late 20s, if I'm going to be honest. I thought I was an adult, but I look back now and I'm like, no. So why start now, you might ask? Well, you probably might already know this, but if you don't, college is expensive, and it's getting more and more expensive every year. When I look at how much it costs for me to go to college in the late 90s versus what I'm seeing now, it's a huge difference. So for example, the 2016-2017 year is an average of $10,000 to $33,000 depending on like a state school versus a private university. My 5 years of college, I think, was about $25,000, and I was doing in-state at the largest university there in Alaska. $25,000 for 5 years. That's not a lot, and I actually lived in the dorms for a good portion of that time. So anyways, it's getting more and more expensive, and I look at what it's estimated to be when my girls hit college, and I'm like, I need to go get a job. Something that you might take into consideration is investment returns, which I don't know a whole lot about, but I do know a little bit about, and also compounding interest. It's going to grow. The more you put in, especially early on, it's going to grow and grow and grow. I know that much anyways. Thank you, Dave Ramsey. And thank you, Dad. Thank you. And the other thing is, grandparents and other relatives who are not quite sure what to get a 1-year-old. Well, if you need an idea, here is my, dashboard. You can donate to my child's education, which, they might not be super excited about when they're 15, but when they're 20, I can guarantee you, yes. And when they're 30, yes and amen. So grandparents and other relatives might be able to help earlier in your children's life versus later on as they're getting older and there's more care necessary. So when our first daughter was born, the topic of saving for college was broached very early on, and I wasn't really sure which way to go actually, but fortunately I had some wise people speaking into my life at this point, kind of helping us, guide us into which way we ended up eventually choosing. There's different ways to save, and I just thought I would go through a couple of them. Now, some of these possibilities are going to vary depending on what country you're in, but even if you don't have the exact same things that we have, I'm guessing that you'll probably have something similar, and at least it'll give you an idea of where to start. The first thing, well, what if I just stick money under the mattress? Not a great idea. And I will be the first to admit that I will hoard cash. I'll get it and I'll stick it places. But you know what happens the minute we need to do something or buy something or something happens or we need a tire for the car? I'm going to go to the cash in the bedroom. And not only are you going to be losing money, but it's not going to be as valuable because of inflation, it's also way too accessible for really important stuff, because braces for your kids are important. Don't get me wrong, but it's right in down the hall and it's easy to get to. And if you're saving for college, you don't want to use that money. It's for college. So Stay away from the easily accessible stuff, which leads me into the next easily accessible option, which is a bank savings account. So, like I said, easily accessible. But the other thing is it also loses money because the inflation rate is going to be higher than your interest rate. So you're kind of losing money there too. And you could just go to the ATM and get money if you need to. So not so much. Another thing that's decent that would work is a certificate of deposit, a CD. Those are actually pretty safe. They're not subject to, the highs and lows and ups and downs. The rate of return is not super high. It's maybe only a couple of percentage points. So it's a possibility, but we can do better. And that's where we're headed. So the next thing would be like a taxable brokerage account. So you're going to be using a mutual fund or an index fund that doesn't have a lot of highs and lows and highs and lows and highs and lows. But because the earnings are taxable, the money that you're putting in there is taxable, your gain, what you're going to get out of it is reduced because of those taxes. Maybe not the best option. It's definitely an option, but maybe not the best. The last is what we chose, which is a 529 college savings plan. We picked it because the earnings are tax-free, so the fund is going to grow definitely more quickly, and it's only used for education. And one thing that I was like, well, what if she doesn't go to college? Then we have this huge pot of money that we've been saving, and my parents and grandparents and everybody's been putting into. Well, what are we going to do with it then? There's options. So it's good for university, for college. It's also good for trade schools, vocational schools. You can use it for most higher education. You can use it for room and board, tuition, computers, books. So pretty much any kind of education that's legit, you can use it for. Now, what happens if my kid just is like, nope, not going to college? So you have two options. One is it's very easy to change the beneficiary's name. So I could make it for, my oldest is like, nope, no college. Fine, okay, that's cool. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it in her younger sister's name. Or we'll wait and see if younger sister wants to go to college. And if she does, cool, then she can go to Yale. Probably actually not, but she'll have more money. So neither of the girls want to go to college. Okay, then put it in my name, and I'll go get my master's. Put it in my husband's name, and let him go do some college courses. Whatever. Last ditch, if nothing else works, and nobody wants to go to college, nobody wants to learn anything, you can take the money out. Obviously, there's going to be penalties, but you can take the money out. It's your money. So if all else fails, you can still get your money out of it. But in best case, you're going to have this awesome account that you're going to be able to use for your children to go to school. Okay, so you might be wondering, how do I get started? Here in the U.S., many states have 529 programs. So Google's going to be your best friend. Canadians have registered education savings plans, and I'm sure that there's probably similar things in other countries as well. California has ScholarShare. There's state programs like this are an easy way to get started. We set up the 529 accounts, I think I mentioned, for both of our daughters shortly after they were born, and we have been contributing regularly. My family contributes, my grandparents contribute, so the great-grandparents. They've helped as well, and I think that's awesome. We've the website that we use, there's a dashboard, and they can actually just go right there and sign up and it's just as fast as that. So that's been great. And what I did early on is, after creating these 529 accounts, is I just sent out an email to my entire family, parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles, and said, look, if you're interested, no pressure. This isn't a jab, but if you're interested and you would like to contribute, this is an easy way to do it. We have this 529 account. You can log in here and you can do it very easily and securely. And it's been great because if you're thinking, well, like I said, well, what should I get for a 1-year-old who has more toys than she's ever going to play with? I would rather you spend that $25 and put it towards her college, because she doesn't need another toy, because she just wants to eat my keys. really. I think that there's a maximum amount that you can do per year, and I think it's like $14,000 per person. So the amount that we have in our oldest is not nearly what we're going to need to put her through college, but we're making great headway, and I'm excited for the amount that we have, and it's steadily growing. And thanks to our family and parents and grandparents, thank you. It's continuing to grow, and every time I log in to check it, I see it's a little bit more, and it's a great feeling, because even if we don't have everything that we need, whatever we've managed to save will be just that much less that they will have to do in student loans or figure out how to pay for while they're trying to go to college, get a job, or whatever. So it's just a little bit less that they don't have to deal with. The last thing that I want to talk about as far as saving for college is we really want to help our kids become financially literate. It's important to me and to my husband that as we go along and as they get older, that they see this money that's being saved for them, and that they understand what it's for, and that when they turn 18 and head off to college, that they have at least a tiny smidgen of a lick of an idea about budgeting and how they're going to steward this money that's been saved for them, if possible, how to make it through their 4 years of college with this amount. And I feel like if we start early talking to them about it, hopefully it will kind of get ingrained in their brains, and as they move along, they'll start to become, like I said, a little more financially literate. So when they get out of here, I want them to know how to balance a checkbook. I want them to know how to do a budget. I want them to understand, the difference between cash and plastic. Swiping the plastic is a lot easier than it is parting with a nice, cold, hard $50 bill or $100 bill or whatever. My husband and I have both really been helped quite a bit by Dave Ramsey. Early on in our marriage, we took Financial Peace University by Dave Ramsey, and it pretty much completely changed the way we looked at money and debt and just pretty much everything. Now there's pieces that might not work so well for us, but for the most part, the things that he's telling us to do and suggestions that he's making are huge for us. And I hope that we will be able to kind of impart some of the stuff that we've learned to our children, so that when they fly the coop, they're going to steward their money well. Okay, so that's it. 529 college savings account. Here we come. We've got two of them. One last thing, if you're thinking, oh, my kids are 10 years old, my kids are 15, it's best if they're young, but if they're not, it's okay. Anything that you can save for them for college, even if it's to help them buy books, even if you only manage to get $5,000, $10,000 stuck back, you can help them buy books, you can help them buy groceries, you can help them buy their school supplies. I encourage you can do this. It doesn't matter how old your kids are, you can get started now. So I hope this helps. I hope that you guys find some good information. We're going to have some information down in the description, so some links if you want to check those out. If you have ideas for saving and what you're doing for your kids' college, I'd love to hear about it. I always enjoy hearing what other people are doing with, in terms of saving and college and what that's going to look like for your family. Would love to hear about it in the comments. So that's it. I'm out. I'm done. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like our video, click like. If you click on the subscribe button, you'll get fancy little notifications when we upload new videos. We've got over 60 videos of baby stuff, family stuff, money stuff, and we'd love to have you join us. We have a Facebook page. It's just facebook.com, the KT Files, and we have a blog, familylifeandlove.org. Yeah, I think that's it, guys. Hope you are all doing well. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.